sometimes I talk about the difference between storytelling and case studies. And, case studies are these things that we write which serve a very important purpose, that if somebody is going to buy a product, whether it's our product or somebody else's, you want, think about if you go to Amazon and you're going to buy a new lawnmower. Sometimes you'll go down the web page and you'll take a look at the reviews. And, what you will see there is, people give it 5 stars or 4 stars, and then they'll write a short description. And in some ways, that's a micro case study. And we produce those as a company, and many other companies do. And they basically say, here is another company that's using this same technology that you're about to buy, and here's what they think about it. And unsurprisingly, those case studies are very supportive. And the case studies are an important tool, I believe, in the sales process. But they're not a story, because they don't typically talk about the ups and downs and the tension and the conflict and the things that people the things that don't work in the product, or things that new features people want, or the stuff that needs to be fixed. But that doesn't mean that case studies are not an important thing, but they're different from stories, where I do think we have this ability to talk about conflict, and to talk about failure, and to talk about tension. And we did exactly that in this 88 Acres story, where Daryl was desperately trying to get funding internally to build this pilot, and he'd failed a number of times. He hadn't been able to get the funding, and then ultimately figured out a way to do it. And then ultimately it was a success that was proved to the company it was a success, and we invested in it. And now the thing that Daryl actually did inside of the company ultimately became a product that the company now sells. And so it was this great story of, great idea, encountered a lot of tension and conflict that ultimately ended up in a great place.
Frequently, people don't want to deal with conflict or mistakes or problems. It's always good and getting better. They don't like to go, it was bad. And the other word, and I think this is starting to change, and I want to talk to you about that, is love. Love is the sort of new frontier. Is that entering your sphere in storytelling? Many
great stories have love in them, and that doesn't need to be, sometimes it's an underlying theme within the story. There's, my favorite story is Star Wars, obviously. And, Star Wars has love through it. The characters have love for each other, and you start to understand, the relationship between these characters. And so, the greatest stories include love. And so I don't think there's any reason that we can't use that in corporate storytelling.